So the Department of Education announced that nursing is no longer considered a professional degree, which is kind of ironic considering that the people who are making these decisions are old people who are soon to be going to be screaming for their nurse to change their bedpan. But I digress. And as someone who's a nurse, I want to go over some things that make nursing very unprofessional, because it makes a lot of sense. Number one, as nurses, we save lives, and that is so overrated. Like, who cares anymore that you dedicate your entire career to saving people's lives? It's not like if we all quit our jobs, the entire healthcare system wouldn't collapse on itself, because it definitely would. And number two, we don't just save people's lives, we keep people alive. But I saw on the list that they consider chiropractics professional, but not nursing. So honestly, in the ICU, just fire all of those ICU nurses. They're just a waste of money. Just put chiropractors in there and just have them adjust every patient. And then all of a sudden, I bet they'll get better patient outcomes than whatever we could do?
Can you imagine going to school for years and then your degree is suddenly just wiped out of the list of professional options and you lose your financial aid? So, did you know that the Department of Education under Project 2025 and the Trump administration has just provided a list of careers that are no longer considered professional degrees? So, I would like to know if any of these fall in your career path. So let's see, we have nurse practitioners, epidemiologists, social workers, physical therapists and occupational therapists, teachers, audiologists, physician assistants, and the list goes on. So I am noticing something here. These are all female dominated industries. How convenient. So all of these things were a part of the RISE committee in the proposal to enhance the big beautiful bill and eliminate overuse of financial aid in student education. So I got to question all of the MAGAs who are aspiring to be in any of these professions. Is this what you voted for? Did you read Project 2025 before you voted or before someone voted for you? So whoever told you how to vote, are they going to pay your bills? Hmm. Any regrets? Let's talk about it.
Nurses are no longer labeled or recognized under the Department of Education as a professional degree, and this includes nurse practitioners. The biggest impact is the federal student loan amount that you'll be able to receive. So if you're an RN, for instance, and you wanted to move on to get your master's degree, you no longer can borrow more than $20,000 a year in federal student loans because you are not labeled as a professional. The cap on which you can borrow is $20,000 a year. An average nurse practitioner program is looking at $30,000 a year. So that means you have to have $10,000 out of pocket in cash or a private loan to cover the rest of your tuition. What I'm getting from this is the United States is making it incredibly difficult for the average American to get an education, a good professional education. I feel like this is all deeper than what it appears to be at surface level. It almost seems like we only want the wealthy to be educated.
By now, you've probably seen that the Department of Education has updated its definition of professional degree programs, and different degrees like OT, PT, and nursing were not included. But before the rumors start running your stress levels up, here's the real unbiased truth. As a nurse, I want to talk specifically about the nursing profession. This change wasn't about devaluing nursing, and it wasn't about limiting your future. It's part of the routine update to make federal program categories cleaner and more consistent. Nursing simply has too many pathways, ADN, BSN, MSN, DNP, to fit neatly into the narrow category that they were defining. Nothing about your licensure, scope, salary potential, or career trajectory changes. One side effect of this update is that nursing students may no longer qualify for the highest loan limits reserved for MD, PharmD style programs. And that can sound scary, but it doesn't have to be. Lower loan limits means you're less likely to take on unnecessary long-term debt for a degree that was never meant to cost $200K. You're still becoming a registered nurse. You're still joining one of the most respected and essential professions in healthcare. You're just being financially protected from predatory lending structures that don't match the way nursing education works. I think the most important thing to understand is that this wasn't done to hurt you. It wasn't done to downgrade nursing. It wasn't done to send a message. It was administrative housekeeping, and the unintended result might actually be better financial protection for future nurses. You're still entering a profession that saves lives, leads teams, and drives the entire healthcare system. None of that changes. I know this video will rub some people the wrong way, and honestly, for me, I was offended at first too, but after stepping back, I'm trying my best to look at what the Department of Education has changed with an unbiased perspective. If you see it differently, I would honestly, genuinely love to have a respectful conversation about it.
Welcome back to Likas Tech. My last video about Trump as administration removing nursing from professional degree list went viral, and Americans are reacting in a big way. Today, I am breaking down what people are saying and why this topic has triggered such a strong response.
These jobs are no longer considered professional degrees. They're being stripped of a key federal classification that could harm the entire American healthcare system and hundreds of thousands of workers. Here's what happened. The U.S. Department of Education, via the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill Act, changed the definition of what counts as a professional degree. Under these new rules taking effect next year on July 1st, graduate students in programs not defined as professional will face much lower federal loan caps, just $20,500 a year and a lifetime cap of $100,000. Let's talk about why this is a big problem. Obviously, this will make it a lot harder for students to afford an education. At a time when we're facing a historic nursing shortage, this decision will inevitably fuel that crisis. But on a deeper level, it's not lost on us that the majority of workers we've interviewed in those professions are women. By making it harder for women and all workers to access federal loans for these careers, the gender pay gap will widen. And who suffers? All of us. Not just these workers and their families, but the entire American healthcare system. Millions of Americans rely on nurses for primary, chronic, and acute care. With less of these professionals, our system could collapse. So here's the deal. We need to push back and demand that this education that nurses and other critical career fields need be treated like the professional degrees that they are. Reach out to your lawmakers, sign petitions, share this video. And if you know any loved ones in these professions, please reach out and support them and tell them that we all value their work.
Stop for a second. On November 21st, 2025, the U.S. Department of Education released a new definition that excludes nursing, including advanced nursing roles like nurse practitioners, from its professional degree listing. Now listen, I'm not here to get political or take sides. That's not the point. What hit me is this. I work with nurse practitioners, nurses, medical assistants, people who grind every single day, who studied, sacrificed, and poured their lives into helping patients. And to suddenly hear that what they've worked for so hard might not be considered professional anymore, it just kind of feels off, to be honest with you. The change is set to take effect July 1st, 2026, when new loan limits and classifications will begin. Healthcare is a team sport. None of us can do it alone. And titles aside, the work these people do is real, it's meaningful, and it's necessary. I'm really curious to see what you guys think, not in a political way, just from a human and a healthcare education perspective. Do you feel like this change is fair? Is it unfair? Does it affect the future of nursing education, advanced practice, and access to care completely? Drop your thoughts below. I genuinely want to hear every side of it.
So did you guys see all of the female-dominated professions that will no longer be considered professional starting in 2026 summertime? And yes, there is a list. So if you went to school to be a nurse practitioner or an advanced nurse practitioner or a physical therapist or a teacher, which is a really big one, there's a lot of other ones that are on the list that are very much so female-dominated spaces. They are saying that you are no longer a professional anymore. Your degree means nothing. All the people who have gone to school for these things and worked their butt off for 4 years or 6 years, it doesn't even matter anymore because they are changing the whole system. And this is just the start of Project 2025. I do find it weird that they're only choosing the ones that women dominate. I find that really strange because it seems like to me, they are trying to take a lot of steps backward. If you are a woman and you have gone to school for this or are going to school for this, I would definitely look into this and probably raise hell. This is not okay. But you know what's weird? They have taught us what to do and how to do it and to trust in the system for so long. And then when you actually grow up and you do it, they flip the whole system. That's just what they do. They're evil people.
Funny how nursing isn't a profession, but weren't we just healthcare heroes during COVID? I couldn't live without us during COVID though, right? But now y'all need us. Bet. If every fucking nurse walked out of their shift right now, what would y'all do? Let the MD, professional, put the IV in. Let them do your intake, do all your fucking lines, hang their meds. And you wonder why there's no nurses now and why it'll be a giant shortage by tomorrow? Because every motherfucking month, y'all come out your mouth and say some bullshit. There will still be nurses in the world that support people who say shit like that. And my thought is that nursing is a female-dominated profession, is why now it don't count. I guarantee you, if it was more males than female nurses, it wouldn't even be a conversation. If the world had to run on the professionals, so the MDs doing all the work from the intake, the admission, all the way to discharge, I'd like to see what the patient satisfaction score is, what the patient mortality is, and overall how the fuck the world operates. Who do you think the patients see 99% of the time? The fucking non-profession nurse. Please.
So the U.S. Department of Education decided that they're going to make some changes. So firstly, they want to dismantle the whole education department. So what they want to do is put a certain aspect of education under different departments. So they want to put like K through K-12, which is K through 12, which is kindergarten to grade 12, under the Department of Labor. They want to put like if you go to university and you study like the health sciences, they want to put that under the Ministry of, like the Department of Health rather, and stuff like that. And other faculties or different areas, they want to put that under interior, whatever. Now when I look at it, they put nursing. Now nursing, granted, you know, for you to have a hospital run efficiently, like for every one doctor you probably need like 5 nurses or so, you know, right? Social work, education, engineering, a business masters, physician assistants, audiologists, accountants, public health, counseling and therapy, speech and language pathology. However, they now want to reclassify the professional degrees. So they're going to keep medicine, dentistry, pharmacy, veterinary medicine, optometry, chiropractic, theology. I don't know who up there around the education department, but something going on. Something not adding up. Something just not make no sense.
I think your anger is misplaced because there's a huge misconception going on. People don't understand this idea of nursing is no longer a profession.
Imagine going to school for years just to get your degree, and the Department of Education comes and tells you that your degree is no longer considered a professional degree.
That's not what that is. It is all about the big beautiful bill and student loan and how much you can access. When it comes to student loan, they have the professional program and the graduate school program, even though they are both graduate school. So now, if your profession is not listed under I think it's about 8 of them, that is medicine, law, dentistry. If your profession is not listed under that, you will not have access to a lot of student loan. You will have access to only $100,000 in a lifetime. Whereas people listed under the professional program will have access to about $200,000 for a lifetime. This doesn't affect nurses only. It affects physical therapists, teachers, occupational therapy, a whole lot more. So please stop saying nurses are no longer professionals or nurses are no longer, no. Nurses are not losing their job. Nurses are not taking a pay cut. Just that people that want to go to graduate school will not be able to go to graduate school because they won't have access to loan. They will either go to private loan that is ridiculously expensive because of the rates, or they will just be RN. So that's what that is. It's not that nurses are losing their job or anything like that, okay? So now be angry, but I need you to be angry for the right purpose. I hope this explanation clears the air for you, because I don't want to get any more DM talking about, oh, nursing is no longer a profession. What does that even mean?
Why is this really, really bad news for all of us, not just nurses? Part of Trump's One Big Beautiful Bill Act actually changed loan repayment programs, setting a higher annual cap for professional degrees at $50,000 a year compared to other graduate degrees at only $20,000 a year. The concern is that not just nursing, nurse practitioner, physician assistant, physical therapy, occupational therapy, social work are all now no longer considered professional degrees. This is terrible news for a system that is already struggling, where we have major nursing shortages and where there are also physician shortages, and physician assistants and nurse practitioners are filling the gaps in a lot of places, especially rural areas. Also, take a look at the types of fields that were removed from professional designation. A lot of them are female dominated. Compared to the fields that are still considered professional degrees, including chiropractic and then also theology. Now, my husband has a PhD and a master's in theology, but just to point out that that is likely on there because of political reasons. No, this is actually all part of Project 2025, where they wanted to privatize all loans, get rid of public service loan repayment, and eventually dismantle the Department of Education, which is already happening. I've also seen comments, and this is very astute, where a lot of these fields are mandated reporters when it comes to child abuse. So nursing, teachers, social workers. I have no great call to action. I don't know if a public outcry is going to do anything or if this is a done deal. Please keep talking about it. And this is incredibly important to learn the ramifications of your vote. You may do knee-jerk vote because of X, Y, and Z, but you can cause serious consequences down the line that can basically hurt the entire healthcare system and your own interests.
The US people are shocked and confused. Many Americans genuinely can't believe that nursing, a field that requires a year of study, clinic trainings, and real-life responsibility, could be classified as anything other than professional. Even nurses themselves started speaking out, saying they feel disrespected, especially considering everything they carry on during COVID. They did a lot of job. They saved many lives. But at the same time, there are also voices defending the decision. Some Americans argue that it was simply technical classification change from Department of Education, not any attack on healthcare workers or professional. That the debate get heated. Some see it as administrative, others see it as symbolic. So a lot of reaction is coming from students who are genuinely worried about that this could mean their financial aid, they might be affected. Nursing major, PA student, and therapy student are asking whether this will be affect their loan or funding, and fear is pushing this conversation even further. And honestly, the reason this brought up is simple. Everyone has helped by nurse at the same point. So when they hear nursing and not treating as profession degree, it hit nerve. People feel it personally. That's why the comment reaction are many, and people are worried about their life because this career depend on people's lives.
Nursing is no longer considered a professional degree by the U.S. Department of Education. What does that mean? It means that nursing students could pay much higher interest rates on their loans. Atlanta News First Tracy Amick-Pierre joins us live from Emory's Nursing School. Tracy, what are you hearing from nurses about this change?
Well, they tell me they're concerned that this will make graduate degrees in nursing much more expensive, ultimately discouraging new nurses, all while we are dealing with a nursing shortage.
All politics aside, these changes does not downgrade anyone's career. It actually just removed the unnecessary label and stopped the endless loan cycles. That's it. Right now, student loans have no limit on it, which means we can go and borrow obnoxious amounts of money, right? And that also means that colleges can charge us obnoxious amount of money for us to get said degrees. There is no way in the world that a graduate degree...
If you're seeking a nursing degree, I need y'all to listen to this. Under the Big Beautiful Bill, the Education Department is stating this now. Nursing degrees, physical therapists, occupational therapists, speech pathologists are not considered professional degrees and there's new cap limits. So if you're taking student loans on these degrees, here are the new numbers. Basically, per year, you can only take out $20,500 per year and $100,000 per lifetime. Now, if you're seeking professional degrees like dentistry, medicine, and also being like a veterinarian, the cap limits on student loans would be $50,000 per year and $200,000 per lifetime. I don't know about y'all, but there is a staff shortage of nurses everywhere, from hospitals to nursing homes, everywhere. I don't know how they're going to handle this. And also, I know a lot of people that's been to school and they can't even utilize their degree. They're doing, being like servers or door dashing and stuff. A lot of people's in debt and can't even utilize their degrees. What do y'all think? My name is Tiffany. I lost 150 pounds in 2.5 years, and I also report different news topics and such today. Tap in.
Nurses were not removed from the professional degrees list. Neither were teachers or any of these professions in this screenshot. They were never there. This is a viral screenshot from ChatGPT, and don't get me wrong, we should be mad, but not for the reason that's going viral. The real issue is that for the first time in history, your entire ability to pay for grad school is now tied to whether your degree appears on that list or not. Since professional degrees was defined in 2007, the list has been the same. But before the big beautiful bill passed, that list did not matter at all. Everyone in grad school could take out unlimited grad plus loans up to the full cost of attendance. Now, unlimited grad plus loans are gone, and there are annual caps and lifetime loan caps. Under this new rule, professional degrees, the tiny, weird list that includes theology for some reason, can borrow up to $50,000 per year with a lifetime max of $200,000. But everything that is not on that tiny professional degree list is now treated as a graduate degree, and you can only borrow up to $20,500 per year with a lifetime max of $100,000. The math just isn't mathing though. Here are some costs of different programs on average. I'm going to keep these over my face for a minute. Now you have an entire generation of students who will be able to get into these programs, but won't be able to finish them because they will hit their loan cap before graduation. This means students will be forced to drop out mid-program because they run out of federal loan eligibility. Many will be pushed into predatory private loans with double-digit interest rates, and thousands of students will be unable to pursue their degree entirely because they don't have an extra $50,000 just laying around. Entire essential professions will suffer for this. So I hope that helps us kind of reframe our outrage, because yes, we should be outraged. Because like in the middle of a national nurse shortage, a teacher shortage, a therapist shortage, a social worker shortage, and an entire mental health crisis, this is the last thing we need right now. So in conclusion, no one was taken off the list. The list was stupid in the first place, but it never mattered until now.
I'm not gonna lie, y'all, this pissed me off because this is wild as fuck. The Department of Education is removing graduate nursing programs and a bunch of major healthcare programs from the official professional degree list. People need to pay attention to what this means. They're talking about removing all of these right here that's on this list. But the one that get me the most is the nurse. They act like the nurses don't be the ones that's holding up that damn hospital, pitting that shit on their back. Nurses are literally the backbone of the hospital because they're the ones that's managing codes, they're checking vitals, they're managing the meds, they're tending to the families, they even be doing the labor shit. They want to pretend that don't count as being a professional? Make it make sense, y'all. And the wild part is, removing these from the degree list is gonna mess up a lot of stuff for them. Their scholarship opportunities gonna be messed up, their student loans, their funding, everything, recognition, that's people's careers, that's their future, all being messed up. So if y'all wanna know why the healthcare is falling apart, it's because of this reason right here. Because they're cutting from the people who actually keep this shit alive.
You guys, something crazy is happening with the Department of Education. They are trying to reclassify what is considered a professional degree. Degrees like MSN, DNP, PAs, physical therapists, occupational therapists, public health majors, literally programs that are the backbone of healthcare. This is important because this is going to affect the federal loans and certain types of aid for these professional degrees. This is going to limit access to education. If students can't afford to attend these programs, we're going to see even bigger gaps in healthcare, contributing to even a bigger healthcare shortage. Or students do decide to pay this excessive amount in school, and they drown in debt. Let's not forget that the One Big Beautiful Bill made excessive cuts, big cuts to Medicaid and Medicare. That is funding for hospitals. So, how are these students going to even pay off this debt? They're making it extremely impossible and extremely difficult. The margin of accessing quality education is getting smaller, and we need to do something about it. Organizations like the AACN, ANA, AAPA are trying to fight against this. It's important that we use our voice to also join in on the fight, meaning just educating your classmates, educating your peers. I will post some links, some options here. We could email our House reps, our senators. We could submit a comment to recreation.gov about this proposal so that it doesn't happen. It's been a scary time because things are just happening without our knowledge under the rug. So it's very important that we stay informed and educated and we try our best to be proactive in this. So I will link some things and just stay informed, my friends.
So this conversation isn't showing down at all, and reactions are only getting louder when you support for degrees with Trump decision. One thing is clear: Americans care deeply about value of nurse. Let me know in the comment. What do you think about all this? This is Ricas Tech. See you in the next one. I love you guys.